Hey guys, I don't know about you, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to keep my gear all the same brand if possible. Now, it's not always possible, as you can see, but I try. So I have the leather jacket here. This Alpinestars. I love this jacket. I only wear leather. Okay. Now these pants are leather, but they're not Alpinestars. I might get them later. I do have the Alpinestar boots, which I do love. These are amazing boots. I will make a review on them later. But today, we're going to do a review on the Alpinestar gloves. Okay, I've had these for about a year now. A little over a year and a month. And I'll give you my honest review, okay, on these gloves. I'll show you what they are. Okay, SMX-1 Air V2 gloves, okay, as you can see right there. Now, I don't even know if they make these anymore. These might be discontinued. I don't know. But I'll still make the review on them and give you my honest opinion and let you decide whether you like them or not. You know, that's up to you. But let's ride, and I'll talk about it while we ride. All right, guys. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty here, to the review. So, okay. So I'm going to start off with, first, let's talk about the positives. Okay. So, number one, I like the fact that they're stylish. You know, these are, genuine Alpinestars, gloves. And so, they have a nice style to them. I love the fact that, they have that carbon fiber. Like, I don't know if it's real, to be honest, the carbon fiber. It probably is, but I can't verify that right now. But it looks amazing. I mean, it looks like you're a superhero, I just love the look. Is really the aesthetics of it is just really what attracted me, initially about them. You got the logos, you got the Alpinestar logo right there on the back of your hand right there, and then you got on the index finger on both sides. You got the logo on the index, and then you have the more prominent logo right there. So it's a stylish design, and it's like a hybrid design. You got the leather combined with the breathable fabric. You know what I mean? So it's great as far as that. The looks. It looks very modern. It's a very modern look. So I would say number one, the aesthetics of the Alpinestar gloves it's on point. It looks great. I mean, it has everything that you want in a sporty type, gloves. I also have a cruiser, the Vulcan 900 that I ride at. I don't ride with these on. It just doesn't seem right, because these are like a lot more sportier. You could ride with them if you want on a cruiser, but I have another set that's just all leather, and that's more, aligned with the theme of the, cruiser theme. But these are very sporty. If you have a sports bike, these are definitely an option you want to look at. Alpinestar gloves. Okay. So, all right, that's number one. Number two, I'm gonna say comfort. These are very comfortable. Very comfortable. They did. I mean, and because of the hybrid design, like I've ridden. Literally, I gotta say thousands of miles. Probably, I ride about a couple of 100 miles at least every weekend on Saturday and Sundays. And I've had these for over a year, 13 months. So add that up. That's a lot of miles. Guess I would say I'm guesstimate about 10,000 miles I've put on these gloves. And I've been through hot and cold seasons. This is California, so obviously it doesn't rain. It doesn't rain. It rains sometimes. It doesn't snow here where I'm at. I'm not up in the, Northern California. I'm in Southern California. And so it's really, really kind of mild weather, but, during the summer it does get, to 100 degrees sometimes. And it's been really, comfortable wearing them in the summertime. It's, we just got over summer this, 2025 here. I mean, towards the tail end of it. I think it's already fall actually. But they I don't have like sweaty hands or anything like that, like you would maybe on an all leather glove. So it's really nice. It's really nice and comfortable. And in the winter, I mean, I don't feel like my hands are, going to freeze off. They keep them nice and insulated from the cold air. All right, so they're very comfortable. And so I would say number 2 is comfort. They really are. I tell you, with the fabric and the leather, combination, it really is the best of both worlds, because you get that durability, on the parts that really are in contact with your bike, so it doesn't like really wear off. And then you got mostly on this side, you got the fabric. So yeah, it's really nice, and it's great to have gloves, not only for when you fall, but also, when you're riding. It protects you against the environment, the weather, and also small rocks and things like that. I've been hit by small rocks, and you can feel it. Imagine if you didn't have the gloves on, it would just be way worse. So I would say number 2 is comfort, and the fit. These are size large, and these are true to size, which I bought other large gloves from other brands that are either like too short or they're too long. You got the big old long crazy tips on them, overhanging tips, just excessively long. So I mean, these are just perfect, large size for me, and it works. I didn't have to reorder them or send them back or anything. Okay, so once again, that's point number 2 of the positives. And let me give you one more point. I would say number 3 is that the price point. The price point is on point for being a name brand. These are genuine Alpinestars, quality gloves, motorcycle gloves. There's a lot of tech that goes into these things, especially from a reputable company like Alpinestars. So you got to take into consideration, that they've invested, R&D in these things. I presume, being a large company. So, for the price point of like 60, I think I paid $60 or $70 for them. Okay, online, and I mean, totally worth it. I would say, for the price point. I'm not spending, a couple $100 like some of these other, higher end models can run. So I would say, if you're, on a budget, or if you just don't want to spend a whole lot of money on gloves, but you still want a quality glove that's not gonna, fall apart, in a couple of weeks, I would definitely consider these Alpinestars gloves. So that's pretty much, I would say, sums up the bullet points on the major positives on these that I love. I mean, I'm very satisfied with them. Now, let me just say though, that being said, there are a couple of negatives on these. Like, usually there really is, there's nothing either is 100% positive or 100% negative, but I would say there's a couple of negatives. And the first negative would be the fact that the Velcro straps on these things are not super strong. I mean, they were in the beginning, they were very sticky, but towards the, later on, they started becoming less and less, I don't know what the word would be, Velcro-y, that it wasn't really sticking. And what I'm talking about is this right here, this part here, it's, as you can see, it's not very sticky. And sometimes I find myself just riding and looking down, and lo and behold, my strap is off like this, and I'm riding like this, and I'm thinking, wow, that's not good. Like, what happens if I fall? These gonna just slide right off. So, it's kind of sketch, but that could be because of the miles I put on them. I mean, like I said, I put probably around 10,000 miles. So I mean, what do you expect? I mean, things don't last forever. So I'm not going to be that guy. They suck because the Velcro, after a year, after 10,000 miles, it doesn't work anymore. Come on. I mean, if you're going to be like that, come on. You know what? Diamonds are forever, they say, but that's about the only thing that I know of that lasts forever. Okay. Gold, maybe. I don't know. But there's very few things in life that, if any, that really last forever. And definitely these taking the, weekly, use on a motorcycle with use, it's going to wear off. I mean, I get it. So I'm not going to blame Alpinestars for it. Everything has a life span, So, like I said, the number one negative about these, I would say, if I had to say, a negative thing about it, is the Velcro straps. I wish they had either better quality or a better method. I don't know, maybe like a button down, like buttons, metal buttons. I mean, I don't know. It would be nice. It would be nice. But I can't complain for the amount of mileage I got. I would say the second thing, my friends, see, it's already coming off again. You see? I don't know if you could tell, but like it's barely hanging on there. Barely. I mean, I'd hate to find out what happens if I fall down. But the second thing I'm going to say, look at these fuzzies. Look at these fuzzies. I've had to cut these off with scissors. I don't like that. On the fabric part, for all its benefits of breathability and everything, they get fuzzy, and I don't like it. It's not a positive thing. You got your fuzzy parts. Fuzzy part, it just makes it look used and old. And look at that. Look at this. I have to keep trimming it, like giving it a haircut, like every so often. It shouldn't be that way. I don't know if it's the design of the fabric or the quality. I've had like all these hairy things come out the tips, that I got to keep constantly trimming with the scissors. So, I would say that's the number two negative thing about these gloves, is the fabric part gets fuzzy and starts, I don't know if the word is disintegrating. I don't know. See, I can't keep these things on anymore. I mean, it's time for a new set of gloves, to be honest. I think I just need to buy a new set of Alpinestars gloves. Well, they gotta run the light. It's gotta be on your head on a swivel, because you just never know. Okay, so that's number two, and really I would say that's really about the only two negatives that I have about these particular gloves. I mean, other than that, I mean, it could be just that I used them too long. Maybe they're not designed to be used for 10,000 plus miles. At some point you do got to replace them, right? It's a replaceable item. So in conclusion, if I knew then, about a year ago, what I know now about these, would I still buy them? Good question. So knowing what I know then and what I know now, I think I would. I would definitely buy them again, because at that price point, $60-$70, I mean, you could buy a pair every 6 months or so and keep them fairly fresh, fresh new pair. Yeah, I mean, why not? Or if you're just an occasional rider, you're not riding like every single weekend, like hundreds of miles, then I would say, what? These are definitely a no-brainer. I wouldn't even question it. If you're just going to ride, once in a while, I mean, for that price point, really, I mean, you can't do better. Why spend, $200 plus or whatever on a pair that you're only going to occasionally use? I mean, yeah, I mean, you could, I guess. I mean, it's your money, but I wouldn't. For me, knowing what I know now, I mean, I would have still liked to, I would have still bought them. But now that I want to try something different now. I want to see what another pair of Alpinestars would, go ahead and do for me as far as, I'm going to go ahead and check out the specs and everything. Maybe look at some better fabric that's not going to get fuzzy on me. And maybe look at the reviews on the Velcro part of it to see if anybody else has, any issues with the Velcro not being sticky. And it does bother me, to be honest. Have to, occasionally, like, I look down and then my Velcro's off, my strap is off, and I'm thinking, well, no, this is not good. So, yeah, so that's about it, my friends. If I were to rate these gloves on a 10-star system, 10 being the most fantastic motorcycle gloves in the world, and 1 being a piece of garbage, I would give it a solid 7. I would say a solid 7 out of 10 for what they are, taking all the factors into consideration. I would give it a solid 7. It's my personal opinion, and that's all I gotta say about that. Once again, this is my review of the Alpinestars gloves 1 year after regular use. I appreciate you watching my channel. Please like, subscribe. It really helps me out. I'm trying to grow this channel. I appreciate any support I can get from you guys. Every single new subscriber is appreciated and counts and makes a difference. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for watching. Peace.